Welcome, everybody, to Breaking the Silence. You have a voice. I hope everybody had a wonderful day and they are ready for this show because it's going to be a hot topic. But before we get started, I want to welcome all of our viewers welcome all of our YouTube viewers and Facebook and Instagram and Caribbean Jammers and everybody else that's viewing the show today. I just want to say welcome. I am your host, Lady V. We have your host, Dr. Yvonne Bennett. How you doing today, Mom?
I'm doing well. Doing good.
Good.
Day and just bless the family, and I'm doing well.
Good. How you doing, Pastor Mel?
I am doing well. Thank you. Your mom looks refreshed.
Yes, she does. That's what vacation does for you. I'm jealous. I need to get a vacation. And how you doing, Dr. Graybeard?
Got jokes today, huh? You got jokes. I am good. I'm good. Recovered.
Good. And you're biking again, or what you doing?
No, actually, I haven't been on a bike but one time this year so far.
We got some feedback.
No, I turned it down.
Yeah. So
how you doing, Pastor AT?
I'm doing good. I was doing good until I found out just now that we had a new guest because I looked at the screen for the first time since we've really been talking, and I saw somebody who's in Dr. Bennett's spot that looked like Dr. Bennett, but not quite. She looked like she 30 years younger.
Right.
Like, what in the world?
Right.
That's why I looked up when Pastor Mel said she looked refreshed. I looked up and I said, "Oh my God!" I had talked to her already, but yeah, she looked brand new.
She went on vacation.
She went to Florida to the Fountain of Youth. That's what she did.
Right.
So. I'm good.
I'm doing good. I wish I was doing that good though, but yeah. I'm straight.
That's what happens when you get rest.
All right, wait, hold on. Who the mama and who the daughter?
There you go. That's all right. Well, so I know everybody has seen, heard, probably more than what we wanted to see and hear. But all right, what's up with Will Smith?
Anybody can jump in?
Anybody can jump in. Just start it off because we just talk about it. Like, what's really going on?
I think that was misplaced anger, maybe, because first of all, Regina Hall made a comment about Will Smith being single, and she said, "I know he's married." But when she was calling up the single men, and she was like, "Jada, do I have permission? Can Will come up?" And then, then he was like, they were laughing, and he was like, "Nah." And then when Chris Rock made the joke about alopecia, Will initially laughed, and then Jada rolled her eyes, and let me say this. I think it was misplaced anger because they were the butt of jokes that night. And it was like, okay, enough is enough. But that's what comedians do. We all know comedians, they're going to hit below the belt. That's a part of their job. And like I said, I really believe that was misplaced anger.
But now he didn't, just so I can be clear, he didn't really make a comment on her alopecia. He made a comment on her being in. I'm sorry?
About her being the next G.I. Jane.
G.I. Jane. So, I mean, me personally, I didn't see anything wrong with what he said because I think that she would make a great next G.I. Jane. So, and then Will laughed, and I don't know, I feel like I missed something. I feel maybe they took the camera off and they're not showing something,
No.
because it had to be something she said
No.
that
Maybe to Will, because we watched it when it happened. All he said was the next G.I. Jane. And unless Jada said something to Will, and that's when Will got up, because all they were showing, he said that, and then like I said, he chuckled, she rolled her eyes, then the camera panned in back on Chris Rock, and then he said, Chris Rock said, uh-oh, here come King Richard,
Okay,
and,
question.
and he slapped. Yeah.
Who all on the show that knew Jada suffers from alopecia by raise a hand?
Before all this, no.
So everybody that I've talked to about this, everybody that has talked to me, I've asked them, did you know that Jada had alopecia before this? They all said no. So there's a great possibility. Well, me knowing Chris Rock, knowing that he did a show about black women's hair, I do believe that if he had known about her alopecia and 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 her insecurity about having alopecia, I don't think that he would have made a GI Jane joke
I
because she found it to be distasteful because of her hair shaved the way that it is. And she found it to be distasteful and disrespectful. And she felt that he was taking a shot at her condition. And I really don't think that he knew because if he had known, I don't think that he would have made that joke.
I can agree with
Well,
that.
but first of all, I mean, one, he didn't necessarily write the joke. Two, the joke was very mild. That was the mild. People talk about disrespect and knowing how Chris Rock and his past and what he could have said, even if he did write or didn't write it. I mean, that was very, very tame. And if you watch the original movie, there was nothing really. If she was going to be compared to G.I. Jane, there's no issue. Now the reports or the video came out recently that she said that she don't care. You know, before then that she didn't care what people say about her hair. So which one is true? It's like either I'm
Right.
sensitive or I'm covering
There
up
you
or I'm not sensitive. One or the other. You know. Um, but if we're going to talk about it, I mean, ultimately, it's just a matter of how men should be in control of their temperament and how
go.
men should not be driven by the likes of women, no matter what the emotional state is. If you want, and we cannot, I don't want to go into this false narrative of like he was defending her because she was not physically attacked. It's just
Say
a matter of a comedian doing what he's supposed to do. He roasted everybody. And then even when the first words he comes out his mouth were Jada, I love you, but so even then he had no malicious intent. The issue is Will Smith could not control his emotions. He was moved by what his wife says. And biblically speaking, let's take it to the Bible. Anytime a man is driven by his emotions or by his woman's emotions, because it's not the right order, bad usually happens, and it's throughout Scripture. When men usually follow the women, when as far as their emotional state, bad things usually happen, and this is a result. One of my friends on Facebook, let me say this real quick. She made the point that a good wife or a good woman, even if she was upset, saw that he was about to move, would have said,
stop.
"Honey, don't do that. Don't make
Exactly.
that move."
Exactly.
And we all have said, if you got a good woman in your life, you always gonna have that woman who keeps you from doing some stupid stuff, even when we get out of place and in our emotions. So that should have been
Okay.
said as well.
I definitely agree with that because, well, let's say this. Let's be honest about this. I don't think that anybody thought that Will was about to get up and slap Chris. So
Exactly.
let's say that because he is one of the most respected actors that's in Hollywood at this time.
Was
I don't think that
was
was.
he
anybody
was
anticipated him going up there to actually do that. Um, I agree with what Denzel said. Was when he said that when you have reached your highest, is that's when the devil tries to bring you
He
down.
comes for you. He comes.
Exactly. So I do believe this is something that I said, and I said this in every single conversation I've had since this has happened. First and foremost, I'm never going to tell a man what, when, and how that you need to stand up for your wife. That's first and foremost. Secondly, we already know that Will had written himself how his entire life he felt like a coward because he didn't defend his mom when she needed it the most. At that moment, we don't know what is going on. We don't know what has happened behind the scenes. We don't know. And Pastor Bell, I agree with you about the displaced anger. So this was his moment to stand up for his wife in a way that he felt he should have did when he was what 9 years old. And this is his first opportunity to do it in that in the way that he felt it. Uh,
Okay, but it's
but,
like,
but,
okay, so
but,
I want us to think
but,
back on when we was in when we was in
but
school.
look, but also this,
So it's kind of like, remember when we was in school and you had the bully that said something about your friend,
right?
and you laughed.
True.
You laughed because you was like, you knew it was funny, and you wanted to be you wanted to be cool and laugh, but then you turned around and said, "Don't be talking about my friend like that." But you laughed.
True.
My problem is, no
Mm,
matter what, I don't have a problem if he gonna defend his wife, but he laughed. He
right.
laughed at the joke.
Agreed. I,
Once he
I
laughed, he made himself look like a fool because
right.
he
But that's
laughed.
where I agree. But watch this. I can laugh at it, but my wife can find it offensive and she could be hurt by it. So that was okay.
Right.
Think about this. To think about this for everybody that's married on the panel. What have you done that you found to be trivial, but your spouse found it to be heartbreaking for them?
The
I
about
gotta say,
specifically twins.
that was over the top.
It
Okay,
Yes,
it was
was.
over the top
yes,
because
it
this,
was
and
over
they
the
had.
top.
Let me tell you something. Me personally, I don't think that it had anything to do with her having alopecia. I don't think it had anything to do with him defending his wife. I think that the whole situation with Will and Jada is up to here with him. And here's the thing: he beat up homeboy when she got on TV and said that she was doing what.
You
But
want
Right.
to know why? You want to know
he
why? You want
wait,
to know why he didn't
he
do
didn't
that?
smack him. He
You
didn't
want
smack
to know
her.
why?
So my thing is, he took out at that moment. Jada said something to him. It was some kind of dialogue. I
Agreed.
don't know if it was before the Oscars. I don't know if it was during the week.
I think
Because
it
you
was in
know,
that
we
moment.
got to, we hold on to stuff. They had some type of confrontation. Now he got on the show, and it's called Show Face. We're gonna show face because we the Smiths. So we're gonna act like we like each other, even though we don't. We already don't like each other. But now Chris Rock and everybody else is making jokes because we the joke of the Oscars. So now the one thing that Chris Rock said, I can see if G.I. Jane was an ugly woman
Right.
and represented a weakness or some kind of stupid girl or whatever. That was a really good movie. So when he said it, I was like, yeah, Jada could play that part
She probably
because
could.
she flaunts her bald head. She does. She flaunts it. She's got her show. She don't look depressed. She's constantly talking about it. So she ain't in her feelings about her hair. Chris Rock made the statement. She went in her feelings for about 5 seconds because she was probably already in her feelings from what's her name? Regina.
Hall.
That's what put her in her feelings.
But it's also from what he said a couple years back when they boycotted the
Right.
Oscars
The Oscar in
about
2016.
right.
that Rihanna when he talked about I ain't gonna go into detail, but it was a Rihanna joke in regards to him being boycotted from Rihanna
Yeah.
and Jada being boycotted from the Oscars. You weren't invited.
That'd be
Type of
2016.
thing. I think it was 2016 or something like that.
It was 16. It was in 16.
Yeah,
She made a comment.
But the
But
whole
it's
thing
still,
is,
even
Okay,
I'm
even
just
that wasn't
saying
that
that
bad.
it didn't have anything to do with him defending his wife.
V,
No,
let me
it didn't.
let me make a statement to what you said. Okay. I'm not going to tell a man or a woman what they can do inside of their privacy of their bedroom chambers. Okay. I'm not in that business. Okay. Because you can't come to my bedroom chambers between me and my wife and tell me what I can do. Right.
When you get
They
married.
not doing nothing.
Okay. But this is what we do. This is what we do now. And V, that's
I have a
you
voice.
don't know that, V. You don't know that. Okay. And I'm not definitive because we're not in their bedrooms, but we don't know. But
I'm
this
sorry.
is what we do know based on what was said by them. Okay. There was nothing that Jada did that Will did not know about. Both of them said that. Okay. Now, if they said that to save face, they said it to save face. But we know what they said openly. There's nothing that Jada did that Will did not know about. What I think, and when you go back and look at it, what I think it was is that Will was completely upset that what happens in their own privacy got out to public.
Mhm.
Now, I truly think that Will was upset because the fact that she chose such a young guy. She chose someone that could not handle the situation. Because what happened? The youngin went out and spread it the actual news in which he wasn't
Put on
supposed
his
to
album.
get up. He wasn't supposed to get it up. He even admitted, I fell in love with her and I want her back. That's what the man said. So you got an almost 50-year-old woman dealing with a little 20-year-old child, and she put that thing on him and he couldn't handle it.
No, I mean you're right. This is all right. And see too, like what Lady V said, you didn't slap him, which you right. So you could have, but then like I said, it's a comedian. This is what comedians do, and I'm like, so now everybody is so sensitive. I mean, you can't say anything anymore. They're doing their job. This is what it's all about. And then it was so out of character for him to do that because he was, like we said earlier, he was people, I'm going to say, really liked him. But this right here has truly put a tarnish on him.
It's
You
only
know,
a stain until
and
somebody.
not only that, but when he got up to receive the Oscars, instead of him saying, you all, that was so out of character. Chris, I apologize. Well, Oscars, I apologize. Chris, I apologize. It was, yes, he apologized to the Oscars, but you could tell in his speech that it was like, oh my God, I have really, really messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, he
But
was
not
feeling
only
that.
that, then he went and he partied. He
Right,
partied like nothing happened.
nothing.
And that's what I'm saying. There was no remorse for what he did.
It didn't.
None
With, with
whatsoever.
he didn't owe the rest of the world an apology. He owed that man an apology. And
But see,
it was
Openly.
for all the
see,
wrong reasons. It did not have anything to do with what he said, because if he laughed, that's
He
it.
did.
He laughed. That means he didn't really care about Jada's feelings because he laughed.
But he did not see Jada's. Yes, he laughed until he looked over and saw her reaction. Um, but again, I don't think
man,
that anybody thought that
right.
was
Look, you're
about
still
to
in your
happen.
feelings.
Period.
Babe, get out your
So,
feelings. That's what you're telling me.
okay. Oh, okay. Hold on. Now, I've been married. You guys are married. We all can say that we have did something or laughed at something that the other did not find funny, that they found it to be offensive. And
Right.
yes,
But we get up and punch somebody.
Right.
we have said, yeah, babe, come on now, you gotta laugh at the joke. Let me give y'all one. One of my exes, we went to this comedy show, and she showed her behind at a comedy show. She showed her behind so bad that when we got in the car, no, when we got home, I said I would never ever go to another comedy show with you ever again.
Wow.
When I said she showed her behind, and it was so bad that the couples that we were with said we don't ever want to go out with her again.
Well, here's the thing.
But
when you go to a comedy show,
hold on.
you already know, especially if you sit
Close.
somewhere
Yes.
in the front, that there is a big chance that
Okay.
you are about to be up under the skin. Now they're gonna find
Right. True
anything.
that.
They're
True
gonna
that.
find anything to say about you.
True
They'll
that.
talk about your
True that.
weave. They'll talk about your nose. They'll talk about your clothes, because that the whole point of it is it's comedy. Now, yes, it may at the moment, I'm gonna say at the moment, made her feel some type of way. But again, not to the extreme. He did not say. It would have been different if he had gotten up there and said, "Look at Jada, and made a joke about alopecia." He just said, "You gonna be in the new
Yeah. Okay.
G.I. movie." That was not enough for her to show her face at the Oscars. Come on. We're at the, we ain't at a comedy show. We not at the club. We not somewhere at a family party. We are at.
I'm saying this, but this is the point that the ladies would never get. I know that AT will get this. A man would do everything he can do to protect his wife. Because watch this. Even though that I disagree with my ex at that time, I still had to defend her. And she was wrong as all outside. But I had to defend her. It's not my place to disagree with her openly and publicly and openly and in public, because the fact that she's offended by something that a comedian said. But however, now I agree with everybody else that she showed her butt, but I couldn't agree with everybody then. I could, because if I agree with everybody then now I place her into an arena that she can't depend on me. So I have to defend her then. I have to stand up for her. But when we got to the house, I let her have it. I said, I had to, because she was wrong as all outside. Who go to a comedy show and gets offended by a comedy show now? You going to the comedy show. You know it's a comedy show. So why you going to get offended by comedy?
That's why I don't feel like you should defend her, because you already know what it is. If you're there, you already know. So would you have gotten offended if he had said something about him? You know,
Okay,
my thing
I
is,
want
you
you to
already
remember
know
this
what Chris Rock
conversation.
is. That man was doing his job. And here's the thing: Will Smith is a comedian.
Right.
Hello.
I got that. See,
That's light work.
Okay, V. I look. I want you to remember this. I want you to remember this conversation. If there ever come a time that you and Derek, that he finds something to be extremely hysterical, whatever, and you find it to be offensive, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to recall this conversation, because Derek is going to have a choice to stand up for you or to let you be.
I don't really
They talking. Let me tell you something. I went somewhere with Derek with his family, and they got on me so bad because I couldn't play. I think it was dominoes or something. I was terrible, and you know what? He didn't punch nobody. His whole family was like, "Girl, you ain't playing because you can't play." Now nobody told me I couldn't play. Was I slightly in my feelings? Yeah, because I was like, well, maybe I'm just having a bad day. But he can't just go and hit the people.
Yeah. So here's the deal, Isaac. There is a way to handle these situations. Okay. Mm-hmm. In the case of what Derek probably would have did in that situation, I would have been like, well, she's good in other areas. You know what I'm saying? She may not be good at dominoes, but she's good in other areas. You say things to make light of it so that you don't hurt your wife, but also you can kind of boost her up in a certain way.
He could have said that she would make a fine G.I. Jane.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
And listen, exactly. But see, that's using your mind and your and being logical and not reactionary. And that's what V, that's exactly what he could have said, and this whole thing would have been
I'm gonna get my
over.
glasses.
And
'cause I
if
can't
he,
read.
and listen, let's be very clear. If he had any animosity towards him after the fact, he could have handled it in person
True.
or on the side,
True.
or he could have handled it in the industry because he's stronger. He has more clout
Yeah,
than
you're
this
right.
guy.
Right.
So there's ways to handle it and show face to where you can protect your wife and not discredit your wife. Because ultimately, look what's happened now. How protected is she right now if people who don't even know her and the whole wide world is talking about them too? You think she feel protected right now that everybody?
So can I say
Hold
this?
on.
She's offended because, okay, I'm going to break it down to y'all now. This is deep. Come on, ladies. She's offended because somebody says she's going to be in the next G.I. Jane movie. But she wasn't offended when she got on her own show and said to her own husband that she had a whole affair with a whole young man.
But you know, B, on real talk,
Right.
every husband know that there's different rules.
Yes.
We know that the rules are not the same.
Yes, that's right.
Women have different rules. She can look at one situation and think that's okay, and in this situation, it's not okay. So every man who's married knows that the rules are not the same.
Okay,
hold on.
Hold on a second. Pastor Bell,
Yes.
how did you feel going through your treatment
Mm-hmm.
and your hair was falling out? How did you feel?
That was horrible.
Okay.
Very
Second question.
empathetic. I'm happy you brought that up. Very empathetic. And of course nobody made jokes. Okay, now there is a difference. I'm happy you brought that up. See, there's a difference when somebody know, like you all were saying, Chris Rock probably did not know. And if he did know, he would not. Because see, there's a difference when you have a condition or you're sick and your hair falls out and somebody makes a joke because you already have that insecurity. Whereas somebody who don't know, that's why whoever said it earlier, I agree. I think Chris Rock didn't know, that she did have alopecia, because I do remember coming across the red table and she was like, yeah, I cut off my hair because I had alopecia. And I was like, what? I deal with it, with the thinning on the top, and because for me, it's hereditary. And I was like, she's dealing with it. And then she said, yeah, she had cut off her hair. And then she was showing a spot where she was like, this spot just popped up on my head. But everybody may not be familiar with it. And here is another thing. And two, another reason why Chris Rock probably did not know, because Jada changes her hair up. Remember when it was shaved on one side? She has a lot of different styles. So he was probably just thinking, it's one of them times, because Jada can be out there.
Mm-hmm. But let's say he did know.
This was another hairstyle for her.
But let's say he did know.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll let you go.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say this. First of all, I don't think Jada was offended. I don't think she was offended. I also don't think when Will laughed, I think it was because of who said it and how it was said. I think the reason he hauled off and hit this person hit Chris Rock is because he has stored up anger.
Yep.
I think, Pastor AT said something about different rules. There's different, if a husband and wife comes into an agreement with sharing partners and all this, the rules are different when it comes to a man. And I think it was stored up anger, stored up. And at that moment, I don't really think he was thinking about Jada's feelings, because we all know that he should have taken care of this in a different way. He could have taken him after the show, after the event, and spoke to him. And also he could have gone to Jada and said to Jada, before he went to him, Jada, were you offended by this? Because I would like to go to Chris Rock and kind of say a few things to him. He could have taken care of it that way. I just think that he had stored up anger, and it just sprung up at a moment. Now all these people, he don't know how they feel about the comment that was made about his wife, and I gotta do something. And that thing rose up, and that's what happened.
You
I
know,
don't think I don't think he was defending Jada at all. I don't even think that was in his mind.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I understand what.
yeah, coming
Just let me finish. I understand what Dr. Isaac is saying. That's the norm. Now, if I were a person that agreed that I'm going to sleep with this one and sleep with that one, and somebody hurts my feelings, my husband's not going to stand up for me, and I wouldn't expect him to, because I put myself out there.
Bingo.
there you go. There you go.
See, I put myself out there, so I don't think he was defending her. I just think that the rules for men
It
are
is
different
right.
when it comes. A man can do. It takes cheating. Take cheating for instance. If a man cheats, his explanation is, "Look, I did it. Hey, I can't undo it." But if a woman cheats, it's a
Different.
whole nother story. It's
Different.
never forgotten. Never forgotten. Never, never. It's never forgotten. He holds it over her head for life. And it's 3 steps. He'll take her back because his ego is hurt. Number 2, he's going to get revenge. Number 3, he's going to exit.
Yes.
Right.
You know, let me actually hit that. I don't think that it was about the person. It was about that our business is out in the front street, and now we are confronting or we're answering questions about our relationship openly, not on our terms. How many
That,
times have we had to speak about something and it wasn't on our terms? When you
But
have to do something when it's not on your terms or when you want to do it, that's when you are in defense mode. You are in restitution mode. You are in recovery mode because you got to come out and you got to defend something that is not on your terms. Okay. So uh AT, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if it was. I don't know if it wasn't on their terms because it was, as you said, it was already known on as far as her group that she had alopecia. It was already known. She said previously in a couple of videos that she don't care what anybody says. It's already out there. She's already established the fact that she didn't care or that they wouldn't care what
right.
anybody said, and that's why I said it shouldn't have mattered whether Chris Rock knew or not. She had already said, no matter what y'all say, it don't matter to me what y'all say.
Right.
But then
Shouldn't have rolled her
rules
eyes.
change, huh?
She shouldn't have rolled her eyes. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
See, that's the thing about when people. That's why I said I wonder if it has something to do with the 6 weeks prior. But really, before we go any further, and I did a video on this yesterday. To me, and we've already established that they have their own rules and what they want to do, and the issue that I have is with the church. The church co-signed on this stuff with heaviness, talking about that's what you do when everything we're supposed to do is behave ourselves, have put ourselves under subjection, and don't say it's easier said than done. And what precedence does it set? And Derek said something to that point. I'm not sure if he's talking about in clubs, comedy clubs, or not. But we're talking about what does it set the example for our young men and our young women of how to conduct yourself in these situations. I fear the fact that there's going to be people who die over this situation because somebody said this is how a man's supposed to act and behave himself and defend, quote unquote, his woman. And they're going to be in the grave and she's going to be out screwing somebody else.
I'm happy you said that because do you know his son tweeted right after, that's how we, what is it? That's how we do it.
That's how we do it.
And so this is, I actually watched on Good Morning America with TJ Holmes and not Ginger, I forgot her name. And one of the guys on there had said, this is what is taught in the Black communities is that a man is supposed to, or a young boy is supposed to defend his a mother or sister or wife. Because in the community, the Black community, this is what they are teaching.
Mm.
However, my the issue that I have as well is that it had to be black people. Why is it always black folks?
Yeah, and the biggest stage.
Right, in the biggest stage, and then the people who was over the Oscars was black as well. You know, my thing is what will and of course it's a lot of woulda coulda shouldas, and then when you step back and you look at the situation, because see, his Swedish revenge should have been, oh, I hear what you're saying, but then when he won the Oscars, then that wasn't cool what you said, you know, because now, like I said, he's tarnished.
Yeah.
Will Smith is tarnished. People will never ever look at him the same. And it's like that, it, like I said, it seems so out of character, but just like I'm gonna say again, I really believe it was
Let's play Saint
misplaced anger.
Yeah.
I
And,
feel
and I want to say something that Derek just said,
Yeah, I
because I want to
definitely.
give thumbs up and kudos to Chris
Chris
Rock.
Rock. Yes, definitely.
Because
yeah,
I'm gonna say this: at any given time,
Yeah.
that whole situation
Could have turned
could
out.
have been could have went south.
Yes.
And so even though you had one black man who set a bad example,
Mm-hmm.
then you had the other one that showed young people
A
that
bit-
you are able in the most embarrassing moment
Yes.
of
Yes.
your life, because that was the most embarrassing,
it
that
really was.
you have the ability to keep calm and to actually remain, keep your integrity. And for that, I have to say that I
Yeah.
really admire Chris Rock, because
I
he
do
could have
too.
lost it. He could have
Mhm.
cussed them out. It could have been a
He
fight. They could have taught. It
fault.
could have been
He
so
still know
many.
those words.
It could have been so many things that could have happened in
Yeah.
that situation. But I believe because he remained calm, and this is the lesson, this is the whole lesson.
Mhm.
Even when somebody does something that is the worst, we still have a responsibility to think, okay, this could go bad if I respond this way. So
Yes.
I really want to say that I felt that he was the bigger man. He was the
He
bigger man.
was.
Now,
I had a
Will
moment of
Smith,
revelation.
I
I got a
believe
revelation just
that
now.
Will Smith, he made a punk move.
Now check this out.
You know,
Check this out.
hey,
I
let me
definitely
finish.
agree.
He's a punk. He's a punk. He let his, first of all, it don't even have nothing to do with the whole Oscars. You let your wife punk you and bring you on national television and tell you that she having an affair, and you didn't even get up and walk away. So at that moment, at that time, you was already classified as a
See,
punk.
Who about
see,
it?
You
you
already
going off
lost
his
your,
past
you already
exploits.
lost
Knew
about
about it.
22 points on your
Vinny,
manhood,
he
because
knew
there's
about
not,
it.
wait a minute, and there's not too many men. Well, I'm just speaking my husband. I ain't gonna get on this platform, breaking the silence, BTS, you have a voice, and air out our dirty laundry. Ma, are you gonna do that?
No.
Agreed.
Ma'am.
That's the reason why Will Smith
Okay,
was looking the way
so
that he was looking at the moment, because he said, you need to talk about your situation. Because remember, Will knew about it. It wasn't a surprise to him. What
it
was
doesn't
the
matter.
surprise?
When she made
No,
it
you
a public,
V,
when
you
you
are looking at
allow
it in
yourself to
one.
get on public television,
V, I got that. But
social
you are
media,
looking
and
from
air out your dirty laundry, you already lost all of your respect. So he didn't lose his respect at the Oscars. He been lost his respect because
Okay,
he
so
should
watch
have
this.
never
No,
allowed
no, no,
him
no.
to
All right,
get
Well, I
okay,
take it
V,
back. I take it back.
Hold on. I'm going to completely disagree with you. I'm going to completely disagree with you. Remember this. Hey, Derek, I was going to talk about Jim Carrey. I definitely was, but I want you to go back to when Jay-Z and Beyonce used the skit of Jay-Z cheating for the album. It was it was the perfect um it was the perfect advertising to sell the album.
Mm-hmm,
It was
mm-hmm.
perfect advertising to sell the album. They used it. Okay. The only thing about it that Will disagreed with is again, is talking about it when it
Open.
wasn't on their terms. It wasn't on their terms. It got so bad to where they had to where they had to say something.
Because
But
the
it
guy,
was
because the guy said,
because of every single thing that
He
August
talked about it. He put it in his music and all that kind of stuff. But see, here's
exactly,
the thing.
exactly.
To me, I don't. If anything, he found followers because when a guy can still stand by his woman in those situations where it is the worst, and still come out and y'all still together and make it work, you have to give him his kudos there.
Yes.
But there was no physical altercation. That was a control of the spirit or control of your demeanor and how you interact. And so he gained a lot of followers from that moving
Sure
forward.
did.
Where he lost me here is this: you don't control yourself. And then what vexed me the most, and we're not talking about it, is when you all up in Scientology and everything else, the
right,
moment you get a little bit of trouble or PR trouble, you want to talk about God and get the church involved and all that kind of stuff. No, stay in your hell where you been the whole time and keep living in that, because God would have had you kept your butt quiet and keep your mouth shut. And here's the deal. And this is the thing when I talked about the other day. I said, if we are talking about the ability, if you're saying, oh, you got to be able to talk and you slap people when you need to slap them, then we also tell men to control their hormones and control that. Which one do you want? If I'm supposed to control my loins and keep from hitting every girl that's in there, then I should be able to control my hands from hitting everybody from when they say something. We set a bad precedence when we bless off on stuff like this. So I'm saying is, look, Will Smith, stay with Scientology. If you're gonna ask God for forgiveness, because God would have told you to forgive Chris Rock for your actions before you ask for forgiveness for the Academy.
And I want to say one thing about the tears. The tears that Will Smith came with at the end was, I just played a fool.
right.
Yes.
That
I didn't,
I
because if it wasn't that, he could have said, and with the tears going, my beautiful wife is responsible helping me with this, or something that related to Jada. No, he just kept brawling, but it was, I made a fool of myself.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So, hey,
That's what I gathered as well. It was, yes, totally.
Yeah.
That's what I believe.
now
And
look,
you want us to come to your rescue and sign off on you, the black community.
No,
You pick and choose when you want to be in the black community and when you don't want to be.
because some of the black community lit him up and some people understood the situation. I understand both sides of it. But AT, this is where I'm going to disagree with you on. Remember Jesus had to check Peter for chopping off the man's ear. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah, but he ain't slap him.
He chopped the man's ear off. Come on, dog.
Okay, exactly.
But
He
hold
checked him.
hold on. We talking about having our emotions intact. This is where I agree with Pastor Mayo from the very beginning. He had emotion buildup. Granted, he laughed at the joke. We don't know what happened the moment he looked at his wife and what was said. That
Right.
portion was never seen on TV. So we don't know what was said.
Mhm.
However, it was displaced anger, displaced aggression, and he allowed himself at the wrong moment to go up and completely embarrass himself, and also potentially could have the most prestigious award in that arena taken away from him.
No,
Can we answer this question?
they're not going to
What
take
if-
it away.
If Shaq was doing that joke, does Will Smith come up there and slap Shaq
Of course not.
at 7'1", 300 something pounds?
We don't know.
I think your
No.
fight or flight kick in and you sit your butt down.
No.
So, but again, we don't
But
know.
Derek said my point on there. He cry all the time. Ain't your tears don't move.
Derek made a point. Derek said he's an actor. He cries all the time.
Yeah,
But
your
this was a
tears don't
different
move.
type of cry.
Yes, exactly.
This
Hey,
was a different type of cry. He just made, and that's true what Derek said. He does, actors know how to do that. But this was a different type of cry. This was I made a fool out of myself cry.
exactly.
Because
Exactly.
if you notice in his speech, it was
Yeah.
like he started babbling
Yes.
in other
Yeah.
it was almost like you could read between the lines, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I just made a fool of myself. I got this Oscar and I went up and slapped this man, and oh my God, it was like you can't take it back.
International TV.
But then he tried to pacify. What he did was Hector's. I feel like King Richard.
That's some weak stuff right there.
No.
Can I get my moment of revelation?
This all could have been taken care of in a whole different way. I mean, the audience wouldn't have known. The audience would have laughed it off, and that would have been it.
Because we all thought it would literally, Pastor and I, when it happened, you all right after
it was a skit.
And got silent. Pastor and I, we looked at each other and we said, was that a part of the skit?
Exactly.
But then when I saw Lupita's face and I read, because they silenced it right after it happened. Right after it happened, they silenced everything. But then you could read his mouth, keep my wife's name out your blankety blank mouth. Then he said it again and I read it and Lupita was looking and we was like, no, this is not a part of the skit. We started Googling. About 2 minutes later, it was all over.
Yeah, it was on, and now Australia had the whole thing. Let me say this point of revelation, and I just thought, when we talk about Chris Rock versus Will Smith and how they both took it, we say that men can't control, or Will had the okay or not to do what he do. Some people believe that based off of his emotions. But Chris Rock, and that's because of words, right? Will Smith responded because of words. Chris Rock did not respond, and it was a physical altercation.
Bingo.
So one responded out of his emotions based off of words, and one kept his emotions in check, and it was physical. And so the question is, why couldn't Will do the same thing?
Bingo.
Because he was already okay. I believe that he was already. See, we've all been okay. Let's keep it real. We have all been in some type of Will Smith situation where we did not handle something correctly. So we have all been in the situation where we've had an argument. The argument got out of hand. You said something, I said something. Now, here's the thing. When it's in the house, it's okay. Right. The tricky part is now I got to pull myself together and I got to go and face the public. And just somebody may say something to hit that one trigger button that causes me to forget not only who I am, but where I am and how I'm supposed to
You know what's the sad part?
And all of us have done it.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
But see,
we may not have been at the Oscars doing it, but we've all been in this situation.
But let's put it this way though.
Upset.
Usually there's an escalation. That's an escalation. This was light. This is very light. And he went off. So that means if you can't handle this when it's light, imagine what's going to be said after. The thing about it is, as long as people know what your buttons are, they will continue to push your buttons. You went through 6 years, 5 years of scandal, but this one little thing is the thing that trips you out.
But Tyrone, but Pastor AT, we don't know what took place prior to the Oscars.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. We only going with what Derek said, tell you about PBR. We went to PBR. We took mom and dad to the
PBR?
It's the professional bull ride. So we went to the professional bull ride and we're watching the people ride the bull and all that. And there was this guy standing behind me. Now, Derek knows everybody. So the guy said to me, he said, take my hand, take my hand. I said, okay. So I'm thinking that he's Derek's co-worker because I'm not thinking that some man would just tell me take his hand. So he said, take my hand. So I took his hand and I asked Derek, I said, Derek, this your co-worker? He said, I don't know him.
You're taking random people's hands.
So So now
Oh my God.
that could have went so different. It could have went all the way south. But he said, "Come on, baby, let's go home." And that was it.
Just
Be-
randomly holding people's hands.
But the reason he handled it that way was because there was already no tension. There was no
I
anger.
see what you're
There
saying.
was
Right.
nothing built up.
Yeah.
Now, had it been where we had argued, where we had some pent up stuff, maybe there was some conflict there, that situation could have been handled differently. All I'm saying is, we talking about Will and Jada. We don't know what happened from the time the Smiths got out the house in the car with the, have y'all seen Willow and Jaden with the children and all that go along with that family? We don't know what happened, that on the way there, Will was already with the trigger. He was already like right here. So it did. We don't know what Jada said to him. We don't know what words took place. All we know is what happened at the Oscars. So all I'm saying is, one, I don't think it had anything to do with Chris Rock. I don't think it had anything to do with his comment. I think that it was things that had already occurred prior to the Oscars, that by the time Chris Rock said what he said, that was it.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah,
Agree.
because Jada Hall, what she said. So here it is. They putting our business out there. Will, I know you're married, but you are single. Jada, does he have permission to come up there? And she was like, and Will was like, and so that, like I said, so, and then it probably also took them back to 2016 when Chris Rock made a joke. So it's like, oh, the Smiths are a butt of jokes tonight. So that could have, because there's times where people say things and it's suppressed, but then, and like I said, misplaced anger, and then one thing happened and you just
And you step out.
But it's a lack of control, though. I mean,
it is. It really it is.
like I said, like I started with this. Anytime men are supposed to be stable, not supposed to be
Right.
in emotions. And you notice that he was not in his emotions other than laughter in the beginning. He looks at her and he gets his cue for how he's supposed to act. That's not how a man is supposed to act. That's not how any human is supposed to act. You getting your cues from somebody else to figure out what's funny, what's not funny. Is she happy? If she happy, I'm happy, even if I'm not happy. If she's sad, I gotta be sad, even if I'm not sad. That's a dysfunctional human being if all my reactions have to come from somebody else. That becomes your master or your God. If
I have a
that's
question.
not healthy.
I have a question. How many of us have had an outburst in public that it was the tipping point for that to happen?
I think I have.
Not in public, but here in my house, and I thought about it, and we had company, and I actually went off on a family member because I had anger already built up.
Okay, so watch this. You gotta take back your own situation. Think back to your own situation, and think back to Will. We don't know in over the past 2 years of every single thing that he has suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he has suppressed concerning this situation. We don't know what that's just a situation that we know about.
Right.
We don't know about any other thing that he has had to suppress. I like what Jim Carrey said in his interview. He said this: when you are an Oscar nominee, the promoting and the marketing for that you have to go through is extremely grueling.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I am not excusing anything that Will did, but this is what I will say. It's extremely mentally draining for you to go through that process, especially when you do it and you do it correctly. He said it's draining. He said, I believe Will Smith had a lack of mental stability. He had an extremely weak moment, and we saw what happened in his weak moment.
But
But that's when
Dr.
somebody's
Isaac,
supposed to
usually
protect
when that
you.
happens, usually when that happens, it's stored up anger.
Sure.
It is.
Something is
Oh, oh, oh,
something.
oh, oh,
It only takes a little bit, and we've all said it, a little bit to trigger off that thing that is already on fire.
mhm,
And I
sure.
do believe that Will had stored up all this stuff on the inside. I don't think it had anything to do with Jada. I don't think it had anything to do with the Oscar. I don't think it had anything to do with anything other than he had this anger. And when people have anger, and we don't know if all of the anger came from his and Jada's relationship.
Mhm.
I mean, his son is, going off on a tangent. A lot of stuff is going on in that family. And maybe there were things that he has not expressed.
Mhm.
And this thing just put the icing on the cake.
And not only that, I think that it may have had something to do with poor choices. You know,
Yeah,
they came
definitely.
to an agreement, and he didn't realize. Now, I'm talking from. You all said that the standards is different from men to women. So
It-
when man and woman agree to have this openness, and man does it, he cool. But when woman does it, it's a
Very
problem.
cool.
So here's the thing. Now, in his mind, how did I even agree to this? Because I set my own self up
Yes.
to be in this situation.
Yep.
And I don't know how to change it, because this is not the first time
Right.
that she has done this. So here's the thing. You agreed to something. You've agreed to a lot of things. And that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of things that's going on with Will, because you agreed to it. You didn't think about your family. You didn't
Right.
think about your who you are. You're a public figure. You know, you didn't think about that. You've allowed this person to that you say you love, and now she's telling you this story, and she's telling you how the guy, you and the guy, how her and the guy got together, and the guy done made a fool out of you. So it's a lot of things that has transpired that maybe as a man, he feels like, you know what, this wouldn't even be happening if I had just been a man and said no. You know, I'm just saying. Because the bottom line is, you should have been a man and just said no.
Oh, I hear you.
Well,
It's true.
Whew. And
well, I'll say this. He did say years ago, I would say about 10 to 15 years ago, he did say that Jada showed him a different way of I love it.
She showed the what?
a
That,
different way of
that
love.
Jada showed him a different way of love.
Mm.
Yeah. No, never mind. I hold that.
Yes.
My comment is gonna be this.
Right.
When
I
people
think
do
y'all
things,
like,
when
okay.
people do things that are abnormal, when they live abnormal lives, look for abnormality.
Oops.
Right.
That's true. There you go.
And that's what you see. That's what you see with this whole family. The whole
Yeah.
family is abnormal.
It's
From
true.
the mom to the dad to the children, even the grandmama. She's a little special too. So when you agree to something, this is what you get. And the bottom line is, we don't know how Will is really, because when we watched it last night and he was on, we watched it on the red table when she was telling him this last story of this guy that she got with, and he was
They aired it again.
Yeah, well, no, we went and we pulled it up on YouTube.
Oh.
You know, he wasn't enjoying that story.
Oh, he wasn't enjoying it at all.
So my thing is, even though he agreed to the openness, it was something that registered in him that said, this hurts right here. Now,
Yes, what
he
registered was the fact
was
that
talking about it, and she was like, you know, because Jada is Jada. Jada really, let me tell you something.
I told you.
Jada has
It's
shown
all
that
about
she don't
talking about
really care about Will.
terms.
And okay, you got to read in between the lines. She don't really care about Will.
You
She
don't.
don't care about Will's feelings. She don't care about her husband. She don't care about him being her husband. She don't like him. Any woman that will do the stuff that Jada has done, it says that she don't respect her man.
Because she
I
don't
think she got
respect
something on her.
herself.
I think she got
You don't
something
even
on him.
respect yourself.
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree. I gotta
What part?
disagree. I gotta
What part?
disagree because watch this. Watch this. I want y'all to understand this. My thing is always understanding the other side too. Whether I agreed with it or not, I have to understand the other side. People that live that lifestyle don't think that way.
That's true.
You
It's
have
true.
to keep this in mind.
That's
People that
true.
live that lifestyle do not think that
That's
way.
true.
So, in her eyes, I'm not disrespecting myself. I know who my husband is to me. I know the value he is to me. Vice versa. I know who my wife is, and I know her value to me, and I know what our value is to our family. They don't think in that aspect as I'm disrespecting myself. The way
Right.
that they view it is that I'm living my life. I'm doing the things that make me happy. I'm doing things that bring excitement to me. Again, when I watched that entire interview, Will had the expressions that I'm out here on Front Street talking about things that we agreed upon in our private life. And the reason that we're talking about it because you decided to deal with a youngin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I had a conversation in short about this whole situation. And his question to me was, why would anyone agree with this, going with different partners? And I said to him, I think that one of the reasons is they want to bring something new to the partner that they're with. And my husband's comment was, if the old is working, why do you need something new?
Oops.
That means that the old ain't working. See, and for me personally, I think she has something on them, or they got something on each other. So
Yes.
this is a dysfunctional relationship from what you can see. I know it's not traditional, but for me, I'm like, look, she obviously got something on him
Yes.
to where they're not breaking up this union.
Wait,
And that
Well,
way,
Will has admitted to
you, you,
Will has admitted to his infidelity.
but
oh no, I
no,
think I think it's more than that.
actually,
I don't think it's revealed because you
no,
don't
it's
treat
a rumor
people that you.
about that. It's a rumor about
Yeah,
him.
it's a rumor, but he also admitted to it.
He admitted to it.
What I'm saying is, there's
with the
probably something that's not even out there just yet because
with the
you don't
man.
treat people like this. You don't treat people like this and still stick with them unless they're covering for you and you're covering for them. It's like you're criminals, and if this gets out, we both go down. So let's just go ahead and ride it to the end.
But see, Will is not squeaky clean either.
Yeah, it's true
No.
that he's not. He's not. So I'm just not hearing about this thing with the man. But
Yeah.
I do know what Cat Williams said. This
Yeah,
is this is
rumor
this
about
is what Cat Williams said. Cat Williams said that I got invited to mansion parties. He said that I learned quickly that you got to be careful of what mansion parties that you go to because you see some stuff that you see some people doing some stuff that you never thought that you would ever see those type of people doing.
and I'm telling you, I heard there was a rumor about Will, but it was not confirmed. Not I'm talking about with the same sex.
Gotcha. Gotcha. But Cat Williams said you go in some rooms and you like, what? Is he in here doing that?
So
That's
Did we
the
lose
life
Lady
of
B?
Hollywood.
Like
Some.
Hollywood.
some
Debauchery.
Some.
But
Right.
listen, as it close out, see, that's also the reason why I have an issue with the church's reaction, even on my timeline, about co-signing on stuff. If there's going to be sinners, let sinners do what sinners do. What
Right.
applies to us in the small piece, let it apply. But there's people who are signing off on this stuff and trying to bring God into it. And that's where I came with the correction. I'm like,
That's
you can't
right.
do that.
God
I
is
don't have nothing to
nowhere,
do with this.
God is not in it.
nowhere in it.
Hey, and to be honest, we can't even blame the devil. That was our will.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
so, the devil, when the devil comes in there, nah, man, y'all been rolling with him for the longest time. So you expect devilish things to happen. So I said, no, let's just keep it. Let's
No,
keep those things which are holy, holy, and those
Blame
things which
the
are
devil.
unholy,
Can't
unholy.
blame the devil. We
Yeah.
we are, as I
To
taught
blame,
Sunday
but
morning
to blame
school,
the
Bible. This is the one thing I taught. We control every single thing about ourselves.
We do.
yes,
It is the moment that we choose not to have that control and we allow ourselves to get out of control.
Yeah.
you're drawn away from your own lust and your own desires of what
There
you
you
want to do.
go.
Don't bring God into this. unless you ask God for forgiveness.
Thank you.
In order for you to say the devil made you do it would imply that you're on God's side and you slipped up. No, you ain't on God's side. So when I hear about it, I expect those things to happen. So to be honest with you, I had no issue with the way everything went down. There's some things right or wrong that should not be done. But when I see Christians signing off on stuff like that, I'm like, yo.
Exactly. Because I'm telling you, hey, the devil did not make you pull your pants down.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
We're way over. It's 10 after.
Now we got 20 more minutes.
Yeah. Because we started late.
And I knew this was going to be a hot topic. I did.
Woo!
Everybody has their
be a hot topic, even though that we changed. Both was going to be hot.
But you know, it is what it is. You know, things happen, and it's a lesson learned to us, because at the end of the day, it shows us how we, because it can happen to us. Christian or no Christian, it could happen to us. We can find ourselves in a vulnerable space where we don't do things the right way. And so, you know, again, I commend Chris Rock for being the better man and handling it the way he did. I hope that there's some good that comes out of this, because Chris Rock has said that he is not going to press charges. I'm hoping that they can come together and talk it out, you know, and it's something that somebody said yesterday. Will owes him a public apology because he publicly embarrassed him. But not only that, I think that, you know, it needs to be talked out. It needs to be where two grown men can show young people, okay, we do something wrong, we make it right. And I think that that's what it's all about. You know, when they see us getting all out of character, we're setting a bad example. So I do hope and pray that he does get it right with Chris Rock, because some say that Chris was a punk. I don't think so. I think that he's being a man, and I think that he respected his position. I think he respected his job. I think that he respected the authority people over him, and he took a bad situation and he even made a little sideline joke just to lighten it up so he could keep on doing what he was doing. So, you know, and saying all of that in a hot situation, we got to learn how to keep cool. Well, this has been a really great show. I knew, you know, we weren't supposed to talk about this, but we are going to go back to our topic next week, because we're going to talk about 50-50. What do y'all think? 50-50. Gender and equality. I'm going to throw a little nugget out there. If a woman works and a man works, is it a 50-50 all the way across the board?
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that.
Y'all think about it, but we're way over time. You have been watching. Oh, hey, brother-in-law, this Derek brother. How you doing, Fred? Fred got something to say.
Be careful what you ask for with that 50-50.
He said sometimes you have to check a brother. It was just the wrong time. All right. Well, okay. Thank you, Fred. Well, you have been watching Breaking the Silence, and I am your host, Lady V. You have your host, the beautiful Dr. Yvonne Bennett, and beautiful Pastor Melanie Butler, and these two guys down here.
I want to be beautiful too.
They're beautiful too. Handsome. Dr. Isaac and Pastor AT. They give us a way to go, ladies. They keep us on our feet. But we've been talking about the topic with Will Smith and Chris Rock. So, you know, please add to the comments. We want your comments, and we do want you to join us next week. We're on the air on every Tuesday at 6:00 sharp. So we don't go over. But we want everybody to have a wonderful rest of the week. And always remember, until we see you again, remember, you have a voice, not a punch, but a voice.
There you
or slap.
Or slap. Bye, y'all.